Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Around the Block. I know you guys loved our strategy last time with our content specialist here, Guilherme. So we have brought him back for another episode along with our expert here in crypto, Phillip. So it's great to have you guys back. We have lots of trending topics today, some really great stuff to talk about. So stick around till the end and let's get started here. How's everyone doing today?
Doing well. It's a beautiful day here just outside of New York City. Markets don't look quite as good as the weather, but
Yeah,
there's a lot of things going on, so that's understandable.
It's like we can't get a break, huh? But how
Yeah,
is it
yeah,
in?
yeah. No, we're not going to be getting any relief anytime soon. If the Fed can make sure of it, so we'll get into that a little bit later. But Gil, how are you doing?
yeah, I'm fine. Thanks for asking. Very glad to be here again with you guys, so I can share some strategies in these endless beer market. So we can talk a lot about that. And yeah, let's get to some topics and do some conversation. I'm glad to be here again.
Awesome. Well, I have heard some things in the making here. What's going on with Axie Infinity? Philip, I saw you had some topics about this. What's going on?
Yeah. So as everyone, well, not everyone, but as a lot of people in the community heard not too long ago, the Axie Infinity blockchain, known as the Ronin chain, was hacked for about $600 million. And now it seems like, due to some solid sleuthing by the block, we're finding out exactly what the story is behind it. So it occurred as a result of what seemed like a routine job interview process on LinkedIn, like any of us would go through. An employee at the company is Mavis, Sky Mavis. They're the company that makes, or basically runs Axie Infinity. So an employee there had several interviews for what appeared to be a legitimate job posted on LinkedIn. Um, and they actually had several calls back and forth for what seemed like a normal process. When they were offered the position, they were emailed a PDF, as with most jobs, something with a scope of work or an offer, contract. But when they opened the email, with the PDF, it contained a malicious link. This malicious link took down 4 of the 9 validators of the Ronin blockchain and allowed for the $600 million theft. And later, the US government actually connected this hack to the North Korean hacking collective known as the Lazarus Group, which is responsible for several other large scale hacks like this. But yeah, it was interesting. These attacks are getting more and more sophisticated in their detail and their scale. So it's really important to really practice, best security practices and check everything. One thing you can do, I was thinking of with this, is hover over the link, and check it if you have any sort of like virus scanning technology. Because obviously they put a lot of time and effort into this. It seemed legit. Like I feel like I could have fallen victim to this, to be honest, if it was on something as everyday as LinkedIn. But yeah, that's basically the high level view of it. Jasmin, did you have any comments about it?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, that's really crazy to see how sophisticated, to go into a whole job application looking for someone and happening, to get someone that can offer them access to what they're looking for. It looks like they're using a lot of brain power, a lot of manpower. I'm wondering, what's their budget with all the money they've stolen? Probably infinite.
Hmm.
But
That's the thing, though. I don't think it requires that much capital to post a job link on LinkedIn and then just have
Yeah.
several free Zoom calls and then send an email. That's literally all free. I could do that right now if I wanted to. So
right.
even though it's detailed, I feel like it's not too capital intensive that they can't really kind of like shotgun blast a phishing attack like that out and get like a lot of results, which is what I'm sure they've done, and we'll get into actually another phishing attack later. It seems to be the most popular. It's just really people. For those who don't know what a phishing attack is, it's exactly what it sounds like, just phishing for people, sending out emails, sending out job invites in, and seeing who bites, who happens to click on that malicious link, that one person. All they need is one person with the right access to be able to do something on this scale. So it's kind of scary if you think about it, that it's that easy to do.
Yeah, and I think it's just another great reminder for all of us. Nowadays we use the internet for everything. We need to practice, safety measures when using the internet. Not using personal and work computers at the same time, not connecting to random Wi-Fi sources, having your own personal, VPN, making sure your passwords are protected and you're not just leaving your keys also for your wallets, on your computer where anybody can access them. So those are really great points to remember as we see more and more phishing scams occurring, more sophisticated ones. And I know, we talked about it last episode, how they were reopening the Ronin Bridge after this. And, they have implemented new safety measures to ensure safer operations. But really, I don't think we can ever be properly prepared for another phishing attack. Hopefully, our employees, our friends, our community stays knowledgeable in the matter, and, we become a little bit smarter and kind of fight back, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it looks like they are struggling to recoup their players. You can only assume it's going to take time and effort to regain the community's trust again, especially with the bear market we are experiencing. Not everybody's kind of too happy to just jump back in. Everybody's kind of still in that really high fear level. So hopefully, they'll be able to be restored back to full health. But talking about another company trying to restore themselves to full health, but looks like they are failing, is Celsius. We saw, recently in X Money Managers claiming that Celsius has been a Ponzi scheme from the start and is now filing a lawsuit against them. So they're saying that Celsius was using customers' digital assets, deposits to manipulate the markets above other things. They failed to carry through on promises that induced plaintiff to undertake various trading strategies. The firm's profits depended on them earning income above and beyond the amounts they needed to even pay their customers for the deposits. So what are you guys' thoughts on this? Do you think that they're ever going to be able to make it out of this?
So Celsius is a interesting thing that I'll get into, and whether they'll get out of it is another thing that's actually up in the air. I'll get into a bit later, but these allegations were very interesting. Jason Stone, the CEO of KeyFi, who is presenting this lawsuit, alleges that KeyFi and Celsius entered into what was described as an informal agreement where KeyFi would act as the investment manager for Celsius, using Celsius's customer funds. Stone, the CEO, found that Celsius lacked basic security controls. The company's formalized agreement by the end of 2020, and under the agreement, Stone would receive 50% of the net profits from Celsius's, say that 3 times fast, actions through 2022. But also from the filing, Stone learned of multiple incidents where the defendants, Celsius, failure to perform basic accounting in native customer funds. One example that stood out was where Celsius improperly accounting for certain payments owed to customers, resulting in a $200 million liability. The company did not even understand how or why it owed. And a lot of this was them not properly hedging against market volatility. So what they thought was actual profit wasn't realized profit. And once they realized it, it was a lot less than they realized. A lot of what they did was what's called yield farming. And what a lot of these companies who aren't used to the risk of that don't account for is what's called impermanent loss. And it's essentially the opportunity cost of performing an action like Celsius was, such as lending or being a liquidity provider, as opposed to just holding the asset. And it's a bit nuanced, but that's essentially how they lost a lot of their money that they thought was there. It was on a permanent loss. So he got a lot less than he thought, and he's very mad. So he's bringing forth this suit. And it seems like he's got a lot of backing behind it. But going back to Celsius and its viability, they've actually done a lot of on-chain loan paybacks recently, and that's a bit concerning because what they were using, as it says in the suit, or deeper in the suit, was they were using pretty much high leverage yield farming tactics, hence the permanent loss. And what they did was they were using decentralized borrowers such as MakerDAO. So they were, borrowing assets to set these positions. So right now, what they're doing is they're paying back these loans and they're getting their original capital back. And you know what they're doing with that? They're selling it. Obviously, they're trying to stay afloat. So they've recently, unlocked like a couple $100 million in Bitcoin and Ethereum. And I continue to get updates on what's called, when they take out these loans, they're called vaults on MakerDAO. So they basically lock up assets as collateral and then are given DAI, the stable coin. So they're able to use that. And what they're doing is they're paying back their DAI and getting back their collateral back, which is Bitcoin, Ethereum, things like that, and immediately selling it. So they're closing out these vaults and getting a lot of these assets that they can either sell over the counter, hopefully, or if there's not enough people to buy it, because we're not in the bear market, there's not a lot of buyers. They could just sell it on exchanges. So that's kind of a fear that much Bitcoin coming on the market, that much sell pressure would cause even more downward price movement. So I think they're staying afloat. They're doing everything they can, and as they unlock more and more of their collateral, there's going to be more sell pressure. It'll be bad for us. It'll keep them afloat. So I think it's kind of anyone's guess, really, how they're going to do and how much teeth these lawsuits have as well, since they're a company.
Right, because they have so much going on that they really have to play very carefully in this market, especially with everything being down. Really, we don't know who's managing their accounts, and from prior allegations, right, they haven't had very good rapport in building or filing accounts. So I'm hoping, they maybe hired somebody on to really, a financial advisor, take care of their accounts. Hopefully they tell him, don't sell all of your Bitcoin, right? But we can only hope for the best, prepare for the worst. So we might be preparing, for another big drop, another dip in the market as they start selling their collateral, which is scary to think. We can, with cryptocurrency, we really have a big say in the market, and our whales unfortunately can manipulate the market when they have so many large holdings and decide to either pump and dump, whatever it may be, as has happened before with some meme coins, right? So it's just being very careful and watching what we're doing here.
Yeah, I agree with you, Jasmin. Yeah, I think just like you said, they can manipulate the market just like our friend Elon Musk has done a few times, and we can just hope for the best, because this Celsius case is a very interesting one, and we can just watch this, look up the news, and then hope for the best, because it seems like this bear market is not very next to getting an end. So yeah, let's watch this and keep our eyes opened.
Yeah, I heard you were still making some good trades, though. I heard you had one, I think it was yesterday, a good trade, even
Yeah.
though we're in a bear market, guys, experienced in proper trading, doing proper analysis, like our expert here, Guy. You're still able to make some profits, by analyzing those indicators we talked about last time. So I heard you had a good trade. Can you tell us a little bit about how that went?
Yeah, sure. Did you want me to already share my screen so I can show the strategy, or did you want to do it after or
Yeah,
something?
that'd be cool. Go ahead and show us.
All right. Let me share my screen so I can show you guys a very good trade that I did yesterday, and I'm still on this one.
Perfect.
Yes.
Good. So as you said, um, we have been quite a long time in this bear market in all cryptocurrencies, and I'm still in a trade here in my simulated account because I don't want to show my real account here, but it's just an example. I did the same trade in my real account, and this is the Bitcoin futures market. This chart is the 60 minutes, or you say 1 hour chart. As you can see, I am short since $21,000. I'm gonna show you guys why I'm short and which indicators told me that the market could go down one more time. So I'm gonna click here on the chart and click on Add Indicator. I'm gonna go for the moving average again, but this time is a different one. I'm going for the 21 period moving average, and I click OK and OK again. All right, now you can see the just simple moving average. For this strategy, I'm going to do something different. I'm going to click again in this one. I'm going to click on moving average properties, and then I change from the simple one to exponential moving average. It's a very slight change, but it's going to make for me the trend more clear because the exponential one gives more importance to the last candles. Okay, now the other indicator that I'm going to use here, I'm going to click again in the candle, insert paint bar, click on more because it's in this area, and then I'm going to use the one which is called Magilla. It was named because of a famous fighter, and you guys are going to understand why in a few minutes. And I'm going to click on add. I choose the first option, which is BTC USDT, and OK. Right, you can see now that my candles they have the different colors than before. Why is that? Because this indicator, Magilla, it tries to follow the trend, and it basically gets green when the trend is a bull trend, and gets red when it's a bear trend. What I do to make it better is I use the moving average of 21 periods to know where and when I'm going to go short or long, depending on the case. So if it's red, I'm going to go short, and green, I would go long. Very good example from this week. As I said, I'm still on this trade, so I have been 2 days already short. Is that when it changed the color, for example, here from green to red, I wait until the candles almost touch the 21 moving average, and then if the price goes down the level, I go short. So as you can see, the price was going down. It had we called a pullback. So a pullback is a small movement in the opposite direction. So it was going down, and then it went up and stopped right there in the 21 moving average. So that's when I know, well, maybe we can have here a small pullback and the price can go a little bit more down. So then I went short, and I keep that position until the price breaks through above the 21 moving average, which did not happen yet. That's why I'm still short in this trade. It has been 2 days and 6 hours because the crypto market never closes, but it shows that we can experience a little bit more of bear market in a short time, like a few days or few hours. And our next very important point that I see in the chart is the 19,500 dollars. I was talking about before the Ethereum chart as well, which has quite a similar situation here. I'm going to change here.
By the
I'm going
way,
to
Gil,
Yeah, sure.
could you give
Sure.
us an idea, percentage-wise, how much you made off that trade? Just a ballpark percentage.
Yeah, so this one, because it's the futures market, you can use the leverage and get much more than I did for this example. But here, right now, as you can see, my trade is having 6% profit. One thing very interesting about Vector is that it's very visual. Like if it's green, you're having the profit, and if it's red, you're having a loss. Just as an example, for each 0.25 Bitcoin that I had, I would be getting right now $300 of profit. Just an example. You can do, of course, you can trade more or less than that, but it's just an example of how much you could take if you would be in this trade. As I said before in our last Around the Block episode, I'm not telling you just trust me and do this at your vector. You can actually go backwards, do some tests, like you actually see of how many times the trade has gone so well. Like it goes, it doesn't break through the 21 moving average, and then it goes exactly in the direction that it was going before. So it's a very good strategy that I use as well. This one is more like for day trading strategy. Sometimes it can go for a few days, but mostly I use this for a day trade as a day trade strategy. But a very similar situation is happening right now on Ethereum. I'm going to just uh, change this chart. This is the daily chart for the 1 hour chart. So here you can see that just like Bitcoin, we have almost the same situation. The price goes down, it touches the 21 moving average, doesn't break through, and then goes down one more time. You could go short in any time that the price has done this behavior before, and it works either for long positions and for short positions as well. Um, Something very interesting, if you change here to the actual, let me change to the standard layout. Let me just remove the paint bar because I want to explain something real quick. I was talking to Jasmin before, and another reason why I went short in crypto is because we have been watching crypto in the couple last days, and both Ethereum and Bitcoin, they were not able to go down this very important support level, which is for Ethereum 1,000 and for Bitcoin $20,000. But also, when it tried to reverse into a bull trend, it was not able to break through the $1,200 twice. I saw this the first time, I didn't do anything, but when I saw that it failed again to break through this price, then I said, now I have to go short because it's gonna have the same behavior. It's gonna go down again until very close to $1,000, and then you can decide whether it's gonna break through down, which I hope it doesn't do, and then it go actually reverse into a bull trend, which we have not seen for a long time. But my analysis for the short, like in the short times here, I think we can experience both Ethereum and Bitcoin struggling a little bit in order to start a bull trend again. So we are now in very important areas. Bitcoin $19,000, and Ethereum very close to $1,000. So we are still waiting for the movement. I still have my hold positions. I'm still buying more, but I mean, for trading matter, I would go short for a day trader. So
It's
I don't know
great.
if
And
if it was if it was clear enough for like beginners and stuff, but that's basically what I have been doing for the last couple of days.
well, I kind of, I like that you're sharing your simulator account. And I kind of want to ask you too, before you make a trade on your actual account, do you play around with the simulator first? Is that how you get started?
Yeah, sure. It's a very important point for everyone who's watching or thinking about doing a trade, or either a day trade or a position trade. Always do some tests in your simulator account before you actually get confident to put your real money in the trade, because this is, for example, this is the futures market. We have leverage, which means that you can actually lose some considerable amount of money. So you have to be very aware of that, and always do some tests before you actually put your real money. So very good point, Jasmine. I did a lot of simulator account before I was confident enough to put my money, and I suggest people do the same. Do a lot of training. As I said before, go backwards, watch the chart, study, make your points, and then when you feel confident enough, then you can go to your real account. Don't be desperate to get some gains. Be calm, study, practice in simulator, and then you go to the actual real account.
Yes, Zen. But
Yeah, go easy, because crypto market is can be tricky, so you have to be careful. And as I said in the last episode, be careful where you put your money, your coins. Be careful with your keys. And the same way I say, be careful with your trades. Start small to learn, and then when you become a little bit aware of everything's going on, then you can put some real money in this. But always start in the simulator account.
yes, and just to state here, to avoid any implications, we are not giving any actual financial advice. We are just sharing with you guys some great strategies that we like to use here on the Vector team that have worked. Again, show you guys how you guys can practice looking at some of these indicators, or maybe if you're an experienced trader, also take a look, try our strategy out. But please do not take this as full financial advice. Do your own due diligence, do your own research, and stay safe. Keep your best practices, and don't fight us. So,
Yes, perfect. All right. So should we go to the next topic already? I'm gonna.
yeah. So, actually, I saw, Phillip, that you just put a just in. So, what's breaking news? Tell us.
Well, going back to the phishing story, Uniswap was just the victim of a phishing attack for about $8 million. The victim apparently had mistakenly given access to the hacker through a fake airdrop. The hacker targeted the victim using a fake Uniswap airdrop token as phishing bait. And when the victim claimed the token, they interacted with a malicious smart contract that gave the hacker full control over the victim's wallet. So it was actually a liquidity provider that fell victim to this attack, not the actual protocol itself. So it just happened to be a unlucky individual or group of individuals. Liquidity providers are people that provide money or provide liquidity, obviously, to these decentralized exchanges for us to be able to trade in and out of, such as on Uniswap. So again, it's another lesson in best practices in security. I'm not sure what exactly the details are outside of that fake airdrop, but yeah, I mean, I've had this is something I could see myself falling victim to as well. I've had like plenty of airdrops in the past. Uniswap already, they were one of the first ones to do airdrops and like make them popular. So I'm not sure why they thought they were doing another one, to be honest. But it is what it is. It's a shame. It shows, it doesn't matter how much money you have, or what your function is in the space. Like, you can be targeted, and they're targeting different people, different ways. And again, just make sure you have best practices and know who you're talking to, and don't click on links. I don't know how many times I have to say this. Just don't click. Like, just scan every link you get. Assume everything in crypto is a scam until it's not.
Yeah,
I think that's the best way to go about it.
I mean, it's not even just in crypto. We see it happen all the time. We have a lot of our Facebook friends that get scams. We get on Instagram, people trying to act like they're an influencer to get you to buy into a scam that they're doing. Oh, I'm doing a giveaway. Sign up here. Or if you send me $10 on Cash App, I'll send you 5,000 back. Right? I get those all the time, and it's like people are falling for these things every day, and it's, I think, just a matter of like they're just not knowledgeable in the fact that this is a scam, that these are things happening all the time. I recently saw another job a scam where they were doing the job interview off of Telegram, which some crypto companies do. I've had a few like where, oh, send me your resume, and connections that you make, but they're over here on Telegram asking you for your driver's license, your address, your social, and people are like, oh, I got the job, and sending it all on there, and there's no protection whatsoever. And they're excited thinking they got a job paying $50 an hour. So it's just kind of these things that we need to be more aware of, spread more knowledge about, tell your friends, your family, especially if you have older, generations in your family that might not know about these things. Just let them know, or even younger ones, these teenagers, using the internet now, playing Minecraft. Like, just be careful what you're doing, be careful who you talk to, careful on the links you play with. We don't want to share any of our private information on the web, the World Wide Web, because it may end up on the dark web. So let's just be
Yeah.
careful, set some precautions for our friends and family, and everybody, try to stay as safe as possible.
And one thing that Philip was saying that I thought was very interesting is that you should always avoid to open personal stuff in the workplace device, because this is the cause of many trouble, as we saw like just before. And one thing that I think it's pretty cool, for example, as a case from Binance, is that I'm a client there, and whenever they send me an email, there's a word that I choose, which is right in the bottom of the email, that I know that this one is official Binance communication and it's not a scam. So I think that's something pretty cool that I see all the time as a case. I don't know if other exchanges do that, because I have been using just Binance in the last few months. But I think it's something pretty cool that can help people which sometimes are very like naive to some links, and help them to not fall into those kinds of scams.
Yeah, Gil, going off of that, I've had several exchanges I use have implemented that, called an email password, where it's a term or just a phrase or something unique that you choose that shows up, that obviously like phishing email wouldn't implement. And that's the first thing really anyone should do. First, obviously, do your due diligence on the exchange. But as soon as you make an account, go to the security settings, make sure you do two-factor authentication, whether that involves an authenticator app like Google Authenticator or another one, or SMS, although the authenticator apps are more secure than SMS, I would say, or a text message, as well as an email password, as well as a trading password, just so you have various levels of security that these people have to go through. The more security you have, the less of a chance you have of falling victim to these attacks, because like I said, it's affecting everyone of all economic statures within the crypto sphere, and they're becoming more sophisticated. So yeah, just really practice safe safe practices.
Yeah, I always use the two-step verification for any account that I use, and I always try, not always, but I try to change the password every like 3 months or 4 months, so that it's going to be harder for someone to find out what my password would be.
Mhm.
Because if you use always the same, you're gonna be a very easy target for them, you know.
Yeah. Uh, Sometimes I double think and I'm like, am I gonna put the same password that I know I'm gonna remember, or am I just gonna be safe and use something, complicated that I may forget, but you can always write
But
things down.
yeah, Jasmine, but there's some apps that you can download in your phone that they help you to gather all the passwords. I don't know right now the number of anyone, but you could surely find it real quick and then gather your passwords in one app, so you won't have problems trying to. I mean, about forgetting them. So
Yeah, guys, don't
it's
be
better
like
than using
me.
always the same.
Don't be like me. I had a little journal with all my key phrases for my MetaMask wallet, and while I was moving, I somehow misplaced it, lost it, probably got thrown away. So I lost my MetaMask wallet, which was very sad. I remember talking to Philip about this, and he's like, "You need to get yourself a little file and just keep everything in one place in a nice little organized file that only you have access to." So I've taken that in advice into account. So I now have my nice little file where nobody knows where it is. So don't come looking for it because that would be not nice. But talking about other things that are not nice, um, things with Three Arrows Capital, we see, we had Voyager that was roughly affected. Its users' funds was about approximately 1.3 billion, and that's in addition to 650 million from the claims against Three Arrows Capital. So the crypto lending firm said that the exact amount reimbursed to users will depend on what happens in restructuring process and in the recovery of the Three Arrows Capital assets. So what they're saying, is they can't guarantee that customers will receive their crypto under their proposed recovery plan. So it's not looking too great right now. We can only hope that they're going to be able to recover everything and restore back everybody's accounts. Just, like I know Luna still not exactly back into great graces here, but they are, at least they have put a restructuring plan in place, and it looks like they are kind of following suit with it so far. Hopefully they stay, streamlined on that and they continue to keep their word. But Philip, did you have any comments about what's going on with Voyager?
You pretty much touched on everything. I'm not sure if you took a look at their creditors, but it's kind of interesting. Or, I'm sorry, they're people they've lended to, but it's very interesting. Although 3AC was by far the biggest borrower of theirs, the second biggest was FTX and Sam Bankman-Fried. So what's interesting about that is I know he's been kind of really coming in and swooping in and saving various companies. BlockFi, I think, is the most prominent one that's been going underwater. He extended them a credit line with the option to buy it based on performance incentives up to $225 million, which is crazy for I think we touched on it last week, so it was valued at like billions not too long ago. But it seems like he kind of did a similar thing with Voyager, but people are wondering why they didn't just pay their debt back. I think it was somewhere in the ballpark of like $377 million. And instead, they kind of just gave them a credit line. And they also have stock in Voyager. Sam Bankman-Fried, I believe, is one of the largest stockholders at around 7 or 8% of the total outstanding Voyager stock. So he has a vested interest in seeing it succeed. So I'm interested in like Sam Bankman-Fried is playing 4D chess with all of us. I'm sure there's a reason behind what he's doing, but it's just interesting to see that he isn't. They're not just paying their debt back. Like it seems like they could just like do that. Instead, they're going to extend that credit line. But yeah, under the reorganization plan, there was kind of mixed reaction to it because under what they proposed, customers will receive a combination of the following, with the ability to select the proportion of crypto and common equity or Voyager stock they receive. So they have the option of crypto, which basically they had on there, proceeds from the 3 Hours Capital recovery, like you said, shares of their Voyager stock, because Voyager is actually a publicly traded company, and then shares of Voyager tokens as well, the actual token. Now, I'm not sure what the other two will look like, but the last two don't look so good. The Voyager token is down 80% over the last month, going from 68 cents to about 15 cents. And the company stock is actually doing worse. It's down 83% from $1.15 to 27 cents. So I wouldn't be too happy with getting something like that that's obviously quickly losing value. So I'm not sure what their game plan is. I saw that Sam Bankman-Fried did comment, I forget what publication, that they do have billions more to deploy to be able to help these companies. So I'd imagine with his vested stock interest in it, unless he sells, that he'll continue to help Voyager as well as BlockFi. The other ones, I know he's commonly said, or he's also famously said, that there are exchanges that are underwater and people just don't know it yet. And it feels like Celsius kind of has that feeling of them just like kind of like just trying to stay afloat, like by just selling everything and the kitchen sink. So it'll be interesting to see what their plan is versus Voyager and BlockFi, since they have the support. But yeah, Voyager is gonna be interesting. It's nice that they're trying. Like it's good, like, words, like, I guess, to like help people feel good,
Right.
make
Their
them
words.
doing something. But like at the end of the day, like, these creditors are really gonna get most of what they get back first, and then retail is gonna be last in line for whatever scraps are left. And as far as 3 Arrows Capital, that story is like, honestly, I think they're gonna make a documentary out of it, because that's nowhere to be found. Apparently their offices based in Singapore are like abandoned, with like mail like just stacking up outside.
Wow.
They were their lawyers. They were on a Zoom call with their lawyers on July 8th, but they were on mute and had their video off, and only their lawyers were talking. So like no one's actually like physically seen them and doesn't like know where they are. It's like, where in the world is Carmen Sandiego? I'm dating myself a bit there, but it's kind of crazy that they're all over the place. And the thing is, people don't know how much they actually had, and that's like recently they were ordered by the British Virgin Islands. I guess they're might be one of their main headquarters to liquidate. So the liquidators, in order to do it properly, need to know how many assets they have, so they can spread it, so they can collect it and split it properly to the proper parties. But because everything is so opaque and they took so many loans from so many people, and a lot of it's just like so gray, it's hard for them to tell how many assets they had. So one thing they did, I know they cleared out their NFT wallet. They have an NFT arm called Star Unite Capital, and they completely cleared out their NFTs. And people are worried, because this is crypto, and because they have the keys to it, that they could move it around and like, put it anywhere and show whatever number they want. And that's basically what creditors might have to go with. So it's kind of crazy. There is an emergency. Creditors did have an emergency meeting today in New York at 9 a.m., but they're not expected to show up. And so the story just keeps rolling out. It'll be interesting to see what comes of it. But I have no idea. It's a drama. Only in crypto can this stuff happen. And it's unfortunate because it's kind of leaves the rest of the industry on hold because, Voyager was a lender to them, Celsius was a lender to them, BlockFi was everyone was a lender to Three Arrows Capital. So until that gets cleared up, like there's a lot of fear in the markets, and that kind of plays into the macro picture as a whole. It's funny that your chart, I noticed, Gil, was compressing, recently, because tomorrow, Wednesday, July 13th at about 8:30 a.m. Eastern time, we're going to get the numbers for June's CPI print. The CPI is basically a measure of inflation within a given time period. So this would be June. And economists are expecting 8.8%, which would actually be 0.2% higher than the last month, which is the highest in 40 years. The last 3 months, right, 2 months at least, we've set record highs and have beat expectations by considerable amounts. So hopefully the number is not higher than this, but we'll see. If it's higher, the markets will definitely react negatively, because that will probably mean the Fed will enact stricter monetary policies. If it's lower, then the markets will most likely react positively, as it means the Fed can lighten up a bit. Again, this is not financial advice, just typically what happens. Another thing that's interesting is the US dollar's dominance. Now, how this kind of plays into crypto is that because the dollar is denominated in most debts across the world, as the dollar becomes stronger, other countries, particularly the euro, have to spend more to pay back the same amount. So the euro actually, for the first time, falls in parity to the US dollar. So it's about $1 for 1 euro. So this is the first time in 20 years. So Europe is one of, the main economies in the world. And these debts being more expensive to pay back means they don't have that capital to be able to deploy within capital markets, within crypto. So there's a bit of a credit crunch as people rush to pay back their debts before rates continue to get increased, because other than the dollar dominance, we have the Federal Reserve increasing interest rates, which increases how much people have to pay back. So instead of people being able to go out and spend money on buying stocks or investing or speculating, they're having to pay back these loans that they've taken out during this easy money period, when there were very little or negative interest rates. And that is playing into fears of a recession, more fear in the market, less people buying crypto. It's, one extra thing to add to this bear market. So the macro news will be interesting. It'll be interesting to see the reaction after tomorrow. But as you can see, if you went back to the chart, as soon as the CPI print came out last month for May, the market started going down immediately. So that'll be something to keep an eye on, as well as just various other things going on in the world. But yeah,
right.
The macro stuff can be just as important as the micro stuff. So it's always a good idea to know the news, and it's actually something that the Vector platform does a great job of keeping up with. Let me share my screen here real quick. One moment. Can everyone see that screen?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So on the left, we have the crypto report, which has various highlights around the industry, whether it's related to a new NFT marketplace, or Bitcoin mining, or the first regulated British pound stablecoin.
I said, look at that news following right up.
Exactly. People are they're concerned actually about the dollar dominance.
Exactly.
I believe Gil is going to discuss some stablecoin news later, but as we loom towards a recession, stablecoins are becoming more and more important. You're seeing more and more move into the top 10, and particularly ones with more solid backing. a la USDC are really eating up a lot of market cap of other coins. So you're kind of seeing that rush to the dollar safe haven in the form of stable coins. But yeah, there's always a good amount of news along with just a general overview. And then over here we have more specific news, and you can tell it's pretty consistent hour by hour, and it shows basically the effect or which currency it's going to be affecting. And this is actually what I was discussing with Celsius and their lenders. So MakerDAO is one of their lenders, but Aave is actually the largest lender or decentralized lender on in crypto. So as you can see, Celsius unlocked another 400,000 ETH, which is a derivative of ETH from Aave. So they paid off, some of their loan back, and were able to unlock this collateral. And unfortunately, it's probably going to get dumped, like I said. So
Right.
something to keep an eye on, in this news as it keeps coming out. So this is something that, along with the indicators and the chart stuff, is something that really helps inform your decisions as far as where the market's headed, whether it's short term or long term.
Yeah, and so the crypto report on the Vector platform is actually updated twice a day. So this is the second report for July 12th, 2022. And you'll see one actualized in the morning and one in the afternoon. That way you always stay, on top of things. You can keep up with all of the news, make your best informed decisions, as well as watch the market prices of the coins, market caps, all right off of your Vector platform. So that's, while you're trading, you can keep an eye on those things as well, which makes it, just the better for us here. We love being able to have everything in one place, not having to, we always have 50 million screens open. So just to make it a little bit easier, Vector has everything there for us, which is why we love it so much. But before we end the show today, I would like to talk about more of the stable coins. And Guy, I saw that you had a little bit about this. So can you tell us what's going on with stable coins?
Yeah, sure. So, a very exciting news for Shiba Inu lovers, the meme community, is that they are planning to launch a stablecoin, WeWord token, and also collectible card game. So, very exciting news for the community. As the developer said, it, open quote, seems to avoid the issues found in other moonshots, close quote. Of course, he was talking about the crash of USD Luna. So we're expecting to see some new stuff in Shiba Inu community. I am not sure whether I feel happy, excited, or kind of worried because it's another stable coin. But he said the name of the developer, by the way, is Shitoshi Kusama, and it's supposed to be a very good news for the community. And I would love to know your thoughts about this, especially Philip, because as I said, I don't know whether I feel excited or kind of worried with this news. I don't know because after the crash of USD, I have been kind of careful with new stable coins.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Shiba Inu is really interesting. I mean, I don't know if you guys remember when it launched, but it was on like every major exchange within like a week of its announcement. It was the craziest thing. And I feel like there are some insiders there, either some very smart people or very connected people that like actually are taking what Dogecoin is trying to be and like doing it, like trying to make a fully functioning ecosystem. I know they have their decks already. I have a buddy who is a big liquidity provider for Shiba Inu. He did really well for himself early on, especially once that pump happened a little earlier. But I think it's kind of cool that they're really taking advantage of the meme energy, because that's something that people really don't understand or underrate, I think, the power of the culture behind it and the community.
Right.
And Shiba Inu has one of the strongest communities, period. And it's a big reason why it's been able to stay in like the top like 15, top 20, basically since its induction. So I think it's really cool that they're, doing innovative things with it. It's always cool to see people building, during a bear market. It shows that they're kind of agnostic to the price. They just want to create a good product and make sure that it serves their people and really moves forward what their goals are. And in addition to the SHIB stablecoin, going back to Aave, there's news that they are launching their own stablecoin called Go. So with Aave, as I said, they're one of the largest lending protocols in crypto. And right now, when you give them collateral, they give you stable coins, and that's in the form of either DAI or USDT or USDC. What they want to do is have their own stable coin that they give you that then you can use in other places, because then that gives them, obviously more control. I'm sure they capture some more yield. They don't have to pay whatever liquidity providers as much. They could be their own liquidity providers most likely and capture more of that trading fee and everything. So I think it's really smart of them to kind of fill that vacuum in a time when stablecoins are really playing musical chairs. I mean, USDT, Tether, in July of 2020, it was represented about 88% of the entire stablecoin market. And the next closest one to that was USDC at about 9%, followed by BUSD, which is Binance USD, at 1.6%, and then DAI at 1.2%. Fast forward to today, USDT only represents about 45% of the market, so a decrease of about 43%. USDC represents about 38% of the market, so more than doubled up to, or more than almost 5x, up to 4 to 5x. It's
Philip,
the market.
do you think this has something to do with the crash of the ST? Like people are not relying in just one stable coin anymore?
That, and I think USDC has always been more above board and more or less played ball with regulators much more than USDT had. I don't think USDT knew or planned on really dealing with regulators too much and just kind of assumed their market dominance would carry them through. However, as you see things like UST happen, people are wondering, hey, what's actually backing this coin? What's behind it? And if you look at USDC, the majority of it is cash. So that's easily equivalent. And what the liquidity providers or market makers do with these stable coins is they actually take them to Circle, who makes USDC, and they give them one USDC and get $1 back. So that peg is always $1. While the price might change on different exchanges, it might be like 99.8 cents or something, they can always take it back to Circle to get that dollar. And same thing with Tether. Allegedly, you can take any Tether, regardless of what price is at the time, and give them a virtual Tether and get one actual dollar back. So that's like what the stablecoin providers give to these market makers and stuff. So people are wondering, hey, okay, USDC clearly has a lot of cash. It'd be easy for them to give me my cash. It's probably safer for me to invest in it, because those are really the people that really are into the stablecoins, the large institutions that are like hedging in various ways their bets and everything, through the various derivatives and other strategies. So I think the reason is just the trust in what's behind it, particularly after the Terra Luna fallout. And then with a looming recession, as I said, the US dollar is, the safest, seen as a safe haven asset, and has been stronger than it's been in years. So I think that's a big reason for not only the transition of people moving from USDT to USDC, but also stablecoins just moving into the top 10 in general. There's a lot more stablecoins there than there are. I think Doge and Shiba are out, if I'm not mistaken. Doge is at 10, so holding strong, but Shiba was on there too. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, Shiba was, performing
the
decently.
top 6 are stable coins. We have Bitcoin, Ethereum, USDT, USDC, BUSD. So 3 out of the top 6 are stable coins. So it just shows like how much people are running for safe, quote unquote, assets.
Right. I mean, with Shiba, I saw that they've, in this bear market, they've been performing pretty decently, I would say. We thought, maybe with the news of the stable coin that they would have a little bit of a pump, but we didn't really see that for those of us that keep up with, the Shiba community. So I'm hoping that once it actually launches, it will give them that little bump that they were looking for. Of course, if you're a supporter, you're in it for long term. And with the community that they're building, like you said, Phillip, it's not just about the money for them. They're really trying to build something here, really trying to build something for their followers and their community, which I definitely do stand behind. It looks like they're very open. They're always looking on how to do better, and we can appreciate that here in this community. So I just have one little pun to end out our episode here. Seth Green is going bananas for his Bored Ape NFT. He was able to purchase back the once stolen ape for a whopping 300K. His initial cost was about 200K, so that totals out to about 500K, all for this one Bored Ape. Of course, it is the star of his animated series, so we can only assume that he just literally could not afford to lose it. So, just a little bit of fun news there, and I hope that everyone had a great time today. I hope you guys enjoyed all of the news we had. Don't forget to check out our Vector platform. You get a free 15-day trial on the link below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, leave us a comment, and let us know what your thoughts are. If you want to keep up with not only the news that we're providing to you, don't forget to check out our crypto report, and I hope we'll see you on the next one.
Be safe, everyone. Take care.
See you guys.